Hi cuties, and welcome to another day of Litmas. As you can see, I have a very sexy voice for you today. I am incredibly ill, but that doesn't mean we're not going to film a video. Alright, today's video we will be kind of performing, not an audit, but not quite a tier ranking, but we will be determining which book that I read this year is going to be my number one book of 2025. Caveat. 2025 is not over. This could change, but these are the current standings. And I do have an inkling as to what my all-time favorite book is this year, but I want to see where these rankings lined up. So I have 27 five-star reads on this list. But I also wanted to introduce to you a new way of ranking stuff, because I think like bracket fights and stuff, they're not accurate. And I did not come up with this. I will caveat that as well. Joshi Corin is who I learned about this means from. I don't know if she created it. That's just where I learned about it. And it's basically so that you can have every book you've read go head to head. And then the one with the most points at the end of it will tell you who's your number one. Okay. So going over to the screen, this is the five-star ranking means. We have all these books here. Oops, on this side. And they will calculate. There's a thing off the screen that you're not going to see right now that will calculate each time I write their title in. So let's say like A Tale Told by Traitors is our first one. In this box right here, if it wins, its column is C, right? So the Tale Told starts with C. I'm going to write C there, and now it's going to start tallying. Okay? We're going to delete it just so we can introduce everybody first. So we have A Tale Told by Traitors by Renee Dugan. We have And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker. Blood Over Bridehaven by M.L. Wang. Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. Draw Dead by O.E. Tierman. Embrace the Serpent by Sunya Mara. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Rosh. Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. Catabasis by R.F. Kwong. My Boss is the Devil by Ben Shankman. Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Booley. Sorcery and Small Magics by Mega Ducey. That sounds so weird. Maiga Ducey? I don't know how to pronounce her name. Spirits Abroad by Zen Show. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. The Notorious Virtues by Alvin Hamilton. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. Third Shift Society by Meredith Moriarty. This Princess Killed Monsters by Rye Herman. Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. And When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vita Kelly. As you can see, these are all in alphabetical order for the most part, because that's what happened when I organized them. So each of these books will basically go head to head. So we'll start with A Tale Told by Traitors, and we'll kind of go through the list of each one. So A Tale Told by Traitors is a sequel, like I said. It is about this girl who is basically on the run. She's been on the run. We were introduced to her character briefly in the first book, Story Spun in Scarlet, and then we get to learn a lot more. She's basically a sort of princess in this other kingdom, but she is not like a blood princess. She was adopted into it, and is basically being a bargaining chip, and so she's escaped that life. She wants to be a baker, and she gets entangled with these pirates and stuff, and she's also searching for her sort of, not blood sister, but sister, basically a body double type of person. They both escaped this horrible regime. It's very intense. It's very heart-wrenching. It made me very sad, but it also made me very happy, and it's great. So then it's going against And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers, which, if you know, and you saw my little review on it, this is basically Aura in High School Host Club. It's great, featuring a trans main character. It's super fun. The main character in this one is a trans man, and before he transitioned, he was in love, had a little summer romance with his new roommate who does not remember him or does not recognize him, and he's very much the Tamaki Senpai character who's very flamboyant, and yeah, and there's a lot going on. So And Their Roommates is a very fun time, but I do think overall, in terms of what I love, I do love A Tale Told by Traitors more than And They Were Roommates. Again, I'm not like, none of these books are going to suck on this. They're all five-star reads. This is what it's going to be really hard to do. Now we have A Tale Told by Traitors versus Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. Again, really love Bat Eater. Very different styles of books, although both very heartbreaking, actually. Bat Eater and Other Names for Korzang is a mystery paranormal thriller horror book where a girl who witnesses the unaliving of her cousin in a very violent manner is now kind of haunted by hungry ghosts and trying to figure out this serial unaliver situation in New York during COVID, all while there's a lot of racism and things going on. It's very intense. It's heartbreaking as well, which is why, like, because Bat Eater it unalived my favorite character is why A Tale Told by Traitors is going to beat it right now. Blood Over Bright Haven. You guys know this was my first obsession vlog because I was obsessed. Again, another heartbreaking book, but it did it correctly. And I really love Blood. So if you don't know Blood Over Bright Haven, I should probably speak a little bit about that. It is a fantasy world, very dystopian, where these people who, the only way that they can survive this weird magical, like, unaliving, is crossing this very dangerous river where people just get like, they get almost like finger zapped, like Thanos zapped by the stuff. Or War of the Worlds really is what it's more, because it's like this light that disintegrates them, and it's very hard to survive. And this man and his, not his daughter, but becomes his daughter, it's like his niece, I think, survive and make it over. And then, but then they have to work or else they're kicked back out, right? And then you have this other character who really wants to be a upper level mage, sorcerer, scholar type, but it's very blocked against women kind of situation. And she kind of learns the truth about things, underground rebellion, and things happen, things go nuts, and it's very well done. I really, really loved this book so much. I do think that it's going to beat A Tale Told by Traitors just because of that. I mean, both have really good world building, but I really, really think that Blood Over Oh, no, don't try to do that. So F, which is Blood Over Bright Havens, is going to be F, is going to win that one. A Tale Told by Traitors versus Bury Your Gaze. Bury Your Gaze was super fun. It's by Chuck Tingle. This is about a guy who, I mean, I don't even know how to explain this one. He's in the film industry, and he really wants to write. He has a very popular show where he wants to make these characters canonically gay. And people are like, well, you have to kill them off. You know, that's the trope of Bury Your Gaze. And it's really, really fun. It kind of devolved into this weird paranormal aspect. It's a fun ride. I do think it was a little bit more chaotic than chaotically structured. So I'm going to give this one to A Tale Told by Traitors on that. Next up, we have another indie book. It's Draw Dead by O.E. Tierman. This is the fifth or sixth book in the Aces High Joker's Wild series. It's an indie military sci-fi, and it's very, very gay, and I love it very much. It was an absolutely great time. It has some other elements in it that I'm like, you know, I do think A Tale Told by Traitors is better. It's so hard. This is actually very hard. Embrace the Serpent by Sonia Meyer. This was a recent read, and it was an unexpectedly delightful read. It is a standalone fantasy where we have this jewel smith, like everything in magic is based on jewels and things, and she ends up in a really rough situation where she's basically fake betrothed to the king of this serpent land, and they have a certain magic based in jewels that keeps their land protected and hidden from other forces and stuff, and it is kind of, it's got a lot of fun tropes in it that I thoroughly enjoy. And it handles a lot of the tropes, like when things are revealed, like not like miscommunication, but if it had a miscommunication trope, it would have handled it well. So it handles things with grace. Like there is a kind of double identity situation in the book that is handled very well, that I liked. Did I like it more than A Tale Told by Traitors? This is where, because they both have very similar elements. Who did I like more? And they both have very unique magic systems too. Okay, here's where I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it to Embrace the Serpent because it is a true standalone, whereas A Tale by Traitors is, while it's a sequel, it is supposed to stand alone, but I do think certain contexts you have to read A Story Spun on Scarlet in order to understand A Tale Told by Traitors. You don't need other context for Embrace the Serpent. So that means it's going to be I for that one. Okay. This is tricky, tricky, tricky. I think the biggest part for this is going to be figuring out not who's my first place, but who's like my second, third, you know? All right. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This is another sequel. There's 2 sequels. That's very cozy. I do think I liked this one more than the first one. So if you don't know Emily Wilde, it is kind of a cozy historical fantasy, where we have Emily Wilde, who's a very scholarly character, and she has this, other professor who she knows is Fae and no one believes her, kind of thing. No. Did she? I don't remember how it went in the first book now. But Emily Wilde is now together with Wendell, who is a former Fae prince. He's an exiled Fae prince, and they go on adventures together. They're in love. It's great. This had a lot more on the romance side of things than the first book did. And I loved the return to some characters. It's got one of my favorite little sidekick characters. The little brownie guy is my fave. We have a really fun time. There was an absolutely epic moment for Emily in this, and actually I think that's going to lean me more to Emily Wilde than A Tale Told by Traitors because of that moment where I'm sitting and listening to it and going, girl, what did you just do? Yes, that's my girl. So I do think it's going to go to Emily Wilde for this one. All right, this is hard to judge now because we have Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green, which is a nonfiction. It is more of a commentary on society and structures that have been put into place, systemic structures that prevent third world countries to have access to tuberculosis medicine, because it's a completely curable disease now, and people should be able, or it's at least a treatable disease depending on the severity. I don't know a whole lot about tuberculosis, but John Green, founded a hospital in Sierra Leone. They're doing a lot of work. I think they just did one. He just went on another trip in the Philippines or something. I don't remember fully. I saw a brief TikTok where he was in an airport and describing it, but I couldn't watch the whole thing because I was busy. Anyway, excuses. But he's been doing a lot of great work in trying to eradicate tuberculosis. And that's kind of a little bit about the history of it, why it's gotten to this point, and more comment on society and stuff. Now, that being said, I'm a narrative girl. And I love my narrative stuff. I read the nonfiction because it's important and stuff. But in terms of I'm obsessed in talking about this book, it's going to go to A Tale Told by Traitors. It's so much more fun. It's so much more fun to me. Everything's Tuberculosis, great book, but it's not my thing. Okay. We now have Go Luck Yourself, which is a sequel to The Nightmare Before Christmas, if you haven't read that, by Sarah Rosh. And is it by Beth Reeves too? No. Just Sarah Rosh. This is now featuring the younger brother of the character in the first book, who is a Prince of Christmas, and he has to go fix things with St. Patrick's Day, essentially, and it's very, very cute. It's very, very good. We have a gruff, St. Patty's Day guy, and it's just so fun. It's a fun, fun time. Now, it's so hard to decide if this is bigger for me than A Tale Told by Traitors, because I am quite obsessed with the entire series by Renee Dugan, but I am also obsessed with Sarah Rush. Oh, this is hard. I guess I have to go back to being who do I think about more? And it is A Tale Told by Traitors. All right. Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so sorry, A Tale Told by Traitors. I know for a fact this book is better for me. It's parrot book. It's magical parrots. Easy win. It's also Brandon Sanderson's world building is so good. This is one where you don't necessarily have to know the Cosmere to read as well. It stands alone very, very well. We have these great characters in this. We have good character growth in this. Yeah, it's just such a fun time. And I am thinking about it so much. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be that one. Now, Catabasis versus A Tale Told by Traitors. This is where I'm going to struggle. On the one hand, I love me my R.F. Kuang. On the other hand, I love me my Renee Dugan. On the other hand, back to the first hand. I I don't think Catabasis is my favorite R.F. Kuang, whereas A Tale Told by Traitors is my current favorite Renee Dugan. Granted, I've only read 2 of her works so far. So I will be giving it to A Tale Told by Traitors. I will. They're both great. They both have very fun romances that are kind of up and downs. They're both very epic adventures. They're both kind of, I didn't know if we would have a happy ending or not. There you go. All right, My Boss is the Devil by Ben Shankman. This is another indie book. It's super fun. It gives the vibes of kind of a Good Omens vibe, where we have this guy who's really just he's trying to survive life, and he gets to make a deal with the devil, basically. But he knows it's the devil, and he's like, this doesn't seem cool. I don't know about you. And he's like, no, you can walk away anytime, and the devil's super chill in this, and nothing bad happens. It's great. But I think it's really, really fun. I do like who ends up being like the villain in this. Has a very good twist of that. I do think maybe the romance will probably develop more. I think it can get more development. So it's the first book. So I'm going to give it to A Tale Told by Traitors right here. But I am about to read the sequel for this, and I'm very excited about it. All right, Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Boulley. This is a very serious book, very intense book, heavy themes. It is about a girl who was raised with everyone asking her if she was a Native American, and her going, no, I'm Italian or whatever, because that's what my dad said. And then finding out the truth about her history, her genetics. Her dad passed away. She's kind of left on her own. She's gotten into a lot of trouble. She goes in and out of all these foster homes. Lots of very heavy topics, and a really good criticism on the foster system, especially when it handles Indigenous people and the history of what has happened to Indigenous people in both America and Canada. And it's very, very, very intense read, very heavy read. There are some tropes in it that I don't personally like as much, but I think overall this is a very, very important book. That being said, in my taste, I enjoyed A Tale Told by Traitors more, even though, again, Sisters in the Wind, very, very important book. We're going off of just my happy taste, and I don't tend to like serious, sad books like this, but I understand their importance, and that's why they end up with 5 stars. There you go. Okay, anyway, Sorcery and Small Magics. This was very fun. It's a fantasy romance. It's a queer fantasy romance, kind of a rivals lovers. Now, this one does not fully complete. There is going to be sequels, and it did not conclude where it needed to. We had a lot of good character growth and stuff, but when I'm comparing it to Tale Told by Traitors, it's going to be A Tale Told by Traitors for this one. It's going to be that. Tale Told by Traitors, I know, is going to be very high on this list. I just don't know where it's going to end up. Okay. Now, Spirits Abroad by Zensho is an anthology of stories, which is very, very fun. But, some you're going to like more than others and less. So I'm going to give it to A Tale Told by Traitors just because I'm just not much of an anthology. But if you want really good Malaysian paranormal anthology stories, it's really, really fun. It's such a fun time. Absolutely loved it. Sunrise on the Reaping. We know. I'm very excited for the movie. I'm very nervous for the movie. This book tore all of our hearts out. We knew what was going to happen because Haymitch's story. If you didn't know, this is Haymitch's story from the Hunger Games. Yeah, it's fantastic, but Tales of Traitors, happy ending. That's the caveat here. All right. The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst is a companion sequel to The Spell Shop, and I love The Enchanted Greenhouse. This is so fun. It involves characters that you do need a little bit of context for. You don't need a ton of context for them. But there is, you are provided that history in the first book. But I do, the Enchanted Greenhouse is so good. I did like it more than I liked The Spell Shop. These characters were a lot more fun. I love our sentient plants characters. We have a winged cat character. Lots of fun stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, it's going to be Enchanted Greenhouse. Okay, so you are T. Oops. Oops, I'm clicking the wrong things. Sorry. T. All right, there we go. The Knight and the Moth. And, oh man, okay. These, I feel like these have very similar vibes. Very, very, very similar vibes. We do have this epic journey. We have betrayals. We have heart-wrenching moments. We have very intense moments. We have a very well-developed romance. We have fun side characters. Is it going to be the Knight and the Moth? Strictly for the gargoyles? I think if that's the one thing Tale Told by Traders doesn't have is a non-human sidekick, which from previous year 5-star audits, we knew that a non-human sidekick is one of my favorite things and makes a book 5 stars for me. Well, it helps bring a book to the 5-star level. So I think it's going to be a Knight and the Moth. I think the Knight and the Moth is our winner on that side. Okay. The Notorious Virtues by Alvin Hamilton. This was an interesting one because I really didn't like the book at first, and then it turned into a 5-star, which is very rare, but very intense. We have this kind of glittering, I want to say 1920s vibe of a fantasy world where you have these starlets and stuff and this magic system that is dependent on heirs competing in these very intense tests. And like you had this character who in the beginning I really disliked her. And I found her incredibly obnoxious. And then by the end, I was really rooting for her. So she had a really good character arc. Really, really great character arc. But I think because it took me so long to like these characters, I will give it to A Tale Told by Traders based on that. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. Very cozy fantasy. We have a missing girl situation. We have this girl who is scared of her own power, and so she only does small magic stuff, and is very, very cozy, kind of found family tropes, very fun. Tale Told by Traders also found family tropes, but also devastating with that found family trope and what it does to some of my characters, I will say. So, this is hard. I think I'm going to say oh my god, this one's really hard to do. I think it's still going to be A Tale Told by Traders. Okay, I think it's still that. I wrote Thrid. Whoops. Thrid. Good typing, Q. Third Shift Society. Now, this is a graphic novel. It is a paranormal urban fantasy that is very, very fun. I immediately cast Anna Kendrick as the main character because she gave very Anna Kendrick vibes in a lot of the work she does or has done in the past, especially like Pitch Perfect or if you guys have ever seen Mr. Right with her. Very much Anna Kendrick vibe, kind of that disaster girl trying to survive, very quirky. It's a really, really fun time, and you have this character who has a jack-o'-lantern for a head. You have vampire characters, you have werewolf characters. It's super, super, super fun. Now, it is a graphic novel, which is difficult for me to usually attach myself to. This one was really great, but because the graphic novels, they cut off before I want them to, it's going to go to A Tale Told by Traders. All right, this Princess Kills Monsters is super fun. It felt like a Mel Brooks film, which I really like. This is the book of subverting tropes, is essentially what this is. It's so fun. It's just such a fun time. There's so many fun characters. The narration style of this, like the prose style, is so fun and quirky, and it's like it's right up my alley. So I do think, what are you, V or Y? You're Y. Y there. I think it's going to go to this Princess Kills Monsters. All right. Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. Very, very serious book. Again, it involves 3 different timelines between like Nazi Germany and the 80s Berlin Wall and in modern times. I think I would have liked this book so much more without the modern timeline. I get why it was there, but I think that's what's going to make this A Tale Told by Traders more like a book that I enjoy more than Under the Same Stars, purely because while it is a 5-star read, it has, again, great messages and stuff, great twists for endings, very intense stories and things. I guess, well, the mid timeline, the 80s timeline really does tie into the modern one, which is super important. So they all do connect very well. It's just I didn't care for the characters as much in the modern timeline as I did for the 80s and the 40s timeline. So yeah, you go. Okay. We Could Be So Good is a queer historical romance. It is so good. In fact, I do think it's going to beat A Tale Told by Traitors. So you are AA. All right. I think so. Right? AA? Yes. It's so fun. Absolutely love it. It's about a somewhat closeted queer man in the 1950s. We begin in the 1950s, who has a best friend. He doesn't fully admit that he's in love with his best friend or anything. His best friend is going to get married, but then things fall apart. There's a cheating thing from the bride side, even though she's one of their best friends. You know, it's very, very... It's got a good on the relationship side of things in a variety of relationships is where this one hits really, really well. I love these characters. I love the growth of these characters. It's just such a good time. Absolutely highly recommend it. All right, we have When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. John Scalzi is wild, man. This man is a wild, wild time. I do think I like A Tale Told by Traitors more because When the Moon Hits Your Eye is kind of another incident anthology surrounding a specific incident where the moon not accidentally, just randomly turns into cheese or a cheese-like substance. And we see through the eyes of various stories. Not a lot of them we get to repeat. There's a couple we get to go back to. So it's not really following one specific narrative of a character, which is where I love more. It's following the narrative of an incident, which is the moon turning into cheese, and how that actually affects the world and people and things. And it's just so weird and fun, and I loved it. All right, now we've got When the Tides Held the Moon. I'm pretty sure When the Tides Held the Moon is going to be the #1 book because I am obsessed with this and I will take any opportunity to talk about this book. This book is about an immigrant man who is in America in the 1910s, right when we have the sideshow, freak show kind of stuff going on. And he gets involved with this circus that is kind of suffering. He is hired to make this big giant tank for something, and gets roped into kind of being a somewhat caretaker of a merman that they capture. There's a lot going on. He and the merman kind of develop a relationship, very shape of water situation. But you have this found family of the freak show characters. You have a lot of character growth in this. You have a lot of mystery in this. You have great romance in this. You have beautiful artwork in the book as well. Highly love that. Thank you for this destroyed donut. I don't need that right now, buddy. When the Tides Held the Moon is likely going to be the #1 book for me this year. We'll see if that actually is true by doing this. Okay, so now we have evaluated all of A Tale Told by Traitors. That puts it in the lead. So it's currently in the lead with 13 points based on that. All right, so now we get to judge And They Were Roommates versus everything else. I don't have to talk about each of the book now because you all know. So, And They Were Roommates versus Bat Eater and Other Names for Horror Zang. Oh, man. Again, it's super fun, but I do think Bat Eater is a better time overall. Oops. Bat Eater's E. Sorry. Bat Eater's E. Oops. E. My bad. E. I think the difference is that And They Were Roommates spent a long time working with these characters, not just talking, whereas Bat Eater, it was go essentially. Blood Over Brighthaven, excellent. It's definitely going to be one of the tops. Bury Your Gaze versus And They Were Roommates. I think I enjoyed And They Were Roommates more than Bury Your Gaze, just cohesively as a plot there. With Draw Dead and They Were Roommates, this is going to be difficult to talk about. I do think it's And They Were Roommates. Embrace the Serpent versus And They Were Roommates. I do think Embrace the Serpent was more fun. I do think Emily Wilde is more fun. And They Were Roommates versus Other Things to Regular. I think it's going to be And They Were Roommates. Go Luck Yourself versus this. I am going to give it to Go Luck Yourself, which is L, I believe, right? Yes. Isles of the Ember Dark. Yeah. Catabasis versus And They Were Roommates. That's Catabasis. All right, we have My Boss is the Devil versus And Their Roommates. Both of these were really fun. I think I'm going to give it to My Boss is the Devil. I think I had more fun with that. Sisters in the Wind versus And They Were Roommates. Very different vibes. Very different vibes. Huh, Bubba? Very, very different vibes. I think it's going to end up being Sisters in the Wind. All right. Sorcery and Small Magics. It's going to be And They Were Roommates, because And They Were Roommates actually ended. Sorcery and Small Magics might end up pretty low on this list just because of that ending. Spirits Abroad versus And They Were Roommates. I will give it to And They Were Roommates. Sunrise on the Reaping versus I'm going to give And They Were Roommates. This is all based on if it was happier. Enchanted Greenhouse. Yeah, it's going to be Enchanted Greenhouse. Night and the Moth versus this. Yes, it's Night and the Moth. Notorious Virtues. Notorious Virtues is going to be versus And They Were Roommates. I think I might give it to Notorious Virtues. It might be that. All right. Teller of Small Fortunes. I think it's going to be Teller of Small Fortunes. Third Shift Society versus And They Were Roommates. I think it's And They Were Roommates. This Princess Kills Monsters. I think it's going to be This Princess Kills Monsters. Under the Same Stars versus And They Were Roommates. I think it's going to be Under the Same Stars. It's hard evaluating these in my brain. We Could Be So Good, easily though. Easily that. When the Moon Hits Your Eye versus And Their Roommates. I'm going to give to that. And I swear it's going to be AB all the way across this row. It's just going to be ABs. It's just going to be that. We're evaluating Bat Eater and Other Names. Oh, first, Blood Over Bright Haven. Bat Eater. So we're on E. Versus Blood Over Bright Haven. I am going to give this to Blood Over Bright Haven. I'm going to give it Bat Eater versus Bury Your Gaze. Bat Eater versus Drop Dead. I can Embrace the Serpent more. Emily Wilde. Bat Eater. Again, it's going to be Go Like Yourself. Isles of the Ember Dark. Oh, wait. You know what? I do think Bat Eater might be better than Catabasis, in my opinion. Purely because Catabasis is so academically inclined, it does kind of make you feel stupid sometimes. So I'm going to give it to Bat Eater. My Boss is the Devil versus Bat Eater. I think I'm going to give it to Bat Eater. Sisters in the Wind versus... These books, I would say, have slightly similar vibes. They're both very relevant topics. They both touch on topics of racism and on systemic oppressions. Oh, man. I think because Sisters in the Wind gives me a much more happy ending, I'm going to go with that. Sorcery and Small Magic. We'll do that. Same with Spirits Abroad. Oops. Sunrise on the Reaping versus Bat Eater. I think that it's a clearer message in Bat Eater. Enchanted Greenhouse, though. Line them up. I think I've determined which ones are going to be in the top, but I don't know where they're going to light up. Notorious Virtues versus Bat Eater. Bat Eater. Versus Teller of Small Fortunes. I do think Bat Eater might. It's so well written. It's so well written. But I love this one so much. Okay. I think it gets a little easier with certain books. The other ones, it's a little harder. All right, now we're on to Blood Over Bright Haven versus Bury Your Gaze versus Drop Dead versus Embrace the Serpent. I think it's still going to be Blood Over Bright Haven. Blood Over Bright Haven versus Isles versus Catabasis. Okay, now here's where we're really vibing similar vibes. I do think it's Blood Over Brighthaven, though. It's Blood Over Brighthaven. It's Blood Over Brighthaven. It's Blood Over Brighthaven. Blood Over Brighthaven. Yeah. Enchanted Greenhouse. The Moth versus Blood Over Brighthaven now. I might actually give that one to Blood Over Brighthaven. I think it's Blood Over Brighthaven. I'm really vibing. Children. Yep. Versus this Princess Kills Monsters. I think about Blood Over Brighthaven more than that. I think I'm gonna go over on the outside, but I really think about We Could Be So Good a lot. Okay. Moving back up. We're gonna get faster with this. It's gonna go faster. But except for this. Bury Your Gaze versus Draw Dead. I feel like I might be betraying some people, but I did really like Draw Dead. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Bury Your Gaze versus Servant. Emily Wilde. G is Bury Your Gaze. Okay. Go Luck Yourself. Bury Your Gaze versus... Now here's... Yeah, Catabasis is definitely... I think I liked it more than Bury Your Gaze. I do think I liked Our Boss is the Devil more. Sisters in the Wind versus Bury Your Gaze. I think it's going to be that. Sorcerer and Small Magic versus Bury Your Gaze. I think Sorcerer and Small Magic is going to be better, actually, in this case. What are you, Q? Hey, Q. Oops, I keep clicking the wrong side of things. Q. Nope, that's a W. Q. Spirits Abroad versus Bury Your Gaze. I do think Spirits Abroad might take that. Sunrise on the Reaping versus it. Yeah. 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 It's hard. Where am I at? Third Shift Society versus Bury Your Gaze. I did like Third Shift Society quite a lot. Spirits with Monsters. Okay, Bury Your Gaze versus Under the Same Stars. Bury Your Gaze versus Under the Same Stars. Bury Your Gaze versus Under the Same Stars. I think it might be Under the Same Stars. But We Could Be So Good. I think I'm going to give that one to Bury Your Gaze, and then I don't think so. Okay, cool. Going up to now Draw Dead. I keep clicking the wrong thing. I'm looking at one screen, but I'm actually typing in another screen. Draw Dead versus Embrace the Serpent. Wow, Draw Dead is, what are you, H. Versus Go Luck Yourself. Oops. Luck Yourself. Tales of the Embark. Draw Dead versus Catabasis. Oh! I do think I like Draw Dead. Did I? I'm gonna go My Boss is a Devil. Draw Dead versus Sorcery and Small Magics. Oops, Sunrise on the Repeats and S. Sorry. I've been wrong letters. Yeah. Yeah. This is hard. Especially when you have a whining dog in your ear. Did I? Wait. That was the instinct. The instinct was that. I just got to start doing it by instinct. By instinct here. Okay. We're going to make this go faster. So now we are on Embrace the Serpent. This is tricky. Embrace the Serpent versus Emily Wilde. I think I'm going to give it... Ooh! I think it's going to Emily Wilde. Ooh, this is hard. Yeah. Oh no. This is hard. This is, I gotta just kind of go like, who's better, you know, in your brain. Oh, no. I didn't have a gut reaction for this one. Oh, these guys are very similar on the scale, I think. I don't want to do it as recency bias because I did recently read Embrace the Serpent. I'm a little worried about that. I do think it was that, though. Okay. I think the We Could Be So Good versus When the Tides Held the Moon is really going to end up being the problem child. Emily Wilde versus Everything is Tuberculosis. There's going to be a lot of Emily Wilde here. Oh my gosh. This is so fun. So fun right now. Children. Hey, chew on that. Get him loose. Around Emily Wilde versus Litmas. Emily Wilde. Okay. Oh no, I paused. Oh no, I paused. That was rough. Oh wow. That was rough. I think I just knocked We Could Be So Good down from second place. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, Everything's Tuberculosis versus Go Luck Yourself. I think Everything's Tuberculosis is just going to end up, because it's a nonfiction and it's just not my main vibe of things. Oh, wait. You should be AC, shouldn't you? Whoops, all of these should be AC. My bad, y'all. My bad. There we go. Go Luck Yourself versus Isles in the Emberdark versus Catabasis versus My Boss is the Devil. I think it's that. Yeah, because of the endings. This is just you guys watching me type things in, and I'm not really debating much. I'm having internal debates over certain things in my very, very low voice. Okay. Isles of the Emberdark versus Many. Okay, this is where Isles is going to really dominate quite a lot, I think. Oops. But not quite. But it's going to dominate quite a lot of other things. Ooh. I don't have an instinct on this one. I have an instinct on the next ones. Not on. We Could Be So Good. It is so good. Is it? I think. I'm trying to find faults in each one, and like I have one significant fault in We Could Be So Good. And that is kind of a miscommunication trope, or not a miscommunication, but a lack of communication. But Isles in the Emberdark kind of does it too with some of their characters. me give it there. Okay, Calabasas! Calabasas time! This is rough. Okay. No. Oops, I didn't mean to do T, right? T is, I meant to do, no. Yeah. Okay. My boss is a devil versus Sisters in the Wind. Okay. A lot of this is just going to be my facial expression here. Sisters in the Wind versus Sorcery and Spell Magic. My good man. My good man. Wait, is it P? No, it's... Yeah, it is P. Yeah, I'm on P. Sorry. Like, what am I on P? P is Sisters in the Wind. Okay. It's this middle groups are hard. All right, Sorcery, Small Magics. Yes, is Q. Baby boy. Baby boy. Also, like, I don't want to talk a lot. Spirits of Bradford, Sunrise on the Reaping we've got here. Again, it's because it's an anthology, so it's harder for me to put anthologies higher just because there's so much variation. Oh my goodness, what am I on? W. I wrote Q. W. There we go. Yeah. Okay, Sunrise on the Reaping versus a lot of things. Big man, what are you doing? Okay. Enchanted Greenhouse is really going to storm a lot, but I do think what's going to happen here is this is the defining factor, and I do think it's going to be inside that was one of the easier ones to do. But all right, Night and the Moth versus Notorious Virtues. Let's get the Moth. Yeah. Okay, we're getting there. We're moving. Oh. But I don't know about these two. Who's gonna win it? I think I enjoyed the cozier. Why is W so hard for me to hit? Is it? Wait. Yeah. W. Let me see. All right. The Teller of Small Fortunes. Wait. You're W. Sorry, you're supposed to be V. 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 Now we're on W. This is the tricky part about doing this ranking system, is remembering who's what. Baby. Now, you could change this to anything at all. I'm just doing it by the columns to make it easier, but it's apparently not easier. So, there you go. I just had a much more fun time. Okay. Third Shift Society, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be anybody in this column, just because it is a graphic novel. You know what? I did enjoy it a bit more than When the Moon Hits Your Eye. So I actually do think that. Now this princess kills monsters. Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. We could be, under the same stars. Unfortunately, here we could be so good versus is that's easily that. Yeah. Okay. Oops, I typed a weird thing. You see. Okay, we have filled everybody out. Let's see where we've landed. Whooshoom! Here we go. We finally have our rankings. So what I did when certain numbers are the same, so like R and AB are the same, I went through who won the battle between those two books, and that determines the actual ranking. So in last place, we have Everything is Tuberculosis. It's a nonfiction. Again, all of these are 5-star reads from me. Okay, this is just who's the most 5-star. We then have Bury Your Gaze, Spirits Abroad, When the Moon Hits Your Eye, Draw Dead, Third Shift Society Volume 1, And They Were Roommates, My Boss is the Devil, Under the Same Stars, Sorcery and Small Magic, Sisters in the Wind, Sunrise on the Reaping, The Teller of Small Fortunes, The Notorious Virtues, Catabasis, Bat Eater and Other Names for Corazang, Go Luck Yourself, A Tale Told by Traders. And we're getting into our top guys. Embrace the Serpent, Blood Over Brighthaven, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, The Night and the Moth, Isles of the Emberdark, This Princess Kills Monsters, The Enchanted Greenhouse, We Could Be So Good, and the number one book being When the Tides Held the Moon. Not shocking to anybody, but I hope you guys had a fun time with this video and this ranking system. Let me know if you like this whole ranking system guy here. Sorry, I have to move this guy over. I hope did it show that? Did it show everybody? Because it was, yeah, okay, cool. So I hope you guys like this ranking system. It might be very important that you do. But if you don't, tell me in the comments. And if you do, there you go. Let me know if you've determined your top 5-star read this year. Let me know what it is and see if I agree or disagree. Or if I need to immediately put it on my TBR. But that's all the time we have today. I have to go play with a dog while being very sick. Bye. It's just a fun time. Child. They're not stealing your bone. It was... Hi, can I help you? You need something? Buddy, Mama's really sick today. I'm sorry I'm sick today. What? You scared of your sister? Get your sister. Ow! Attack of the kiss. Mwah.